Hospital Porter's Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panwo TV. And I'm here with Richard, and it's the first time he's appeared on camera so far.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks.
So, what do you think of Professor Robert Schoch last evening?
It was shockingly good.
Yeah.
2 seconds, I'll just lose the mints. Yeah, he was really good. He spoke a lot about Easter Island, and I'm sure you're all familiar with the heads on Easter Island.
The Moai, yeah, those big
Moai,
statues.
Let's move out the way of this window.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he spoke about kind of the eyes being fixed on space as well, which I found interesting. But a lot of them have been reconstructed. He pulled out a lot of old photos of them, kind of on the edge and things.
Yeah.
He brought up Göbekli Tepe, but unfortunately he's going to talk about that on Monday when we're not going to be here.
But basically, Robert Schoch is the guy who basically redated the Sphinx to about at least 7,000 BC, maybe probably older. I mean, he's happy to push it back to the end of the Ice Age because he says there's similarities between the Sphinx and elements of Göbekli Tepe. And Easter Island, he's saying that some Easter Island civilization may go back early because of the different kinds of rock that the Moai are made out of. Now, you're a geologist, so you know about this. Now, what are most of the Moai made of?
Most of them are made out of kind of intrusive volcanic rocks, whereas some of them are actually carved out of basalt, which is an incredibly iron-rich rock. So it's very hard to work with.
Very, very tough rock, very hard.
It is very, very tough, very hard, and yeah, there was like two different models as well. There was apparently a giant ones with long ears, and then there was a shorter race with shorter ears. Now this represented itself very well in the statues themselves.
Because it was like some strange different. Because I mean, not much is known about the Easter Island civilization. It's very. And by the time the Dutch explorers arrived there, the civilization that created these statues had collapsed. Yeah. And they were just standing there, just mute, basically. And the people who lived there couldn't tell much about them.
Well, he said an interesting thing towards the end that the Europeans who went there first said, they battled with each other, they killed each other, when really they thought that might have been a cover story for what the Europeans actually did to them, which was probably something much more barbaric. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a BBC Horizon documentary about Easter Island, which basically says that the people who lived there, the civilization that created the Moai, destroyed the environment, and then they started fighting over what little resources remained. However, I think people who lived on one island and knew how many trees and forests and other things they needed, because they needed the wood, because there used to be lots of forests on Easter Island, and now there's just grass. Yeah. They knew they needed the wood for the canoes. They knew that they only had a certain amount of resources. They wouldn't be so stupid as to go and wipe everything out. Only people nowadays are that stupid. On an island where you can see everything, there's no pretending like we do today.
Yeah, and
you're not wiping out your environment. No one would be that thick.
And what I thought as well was, if you live on a small island and there's only two races of you, there's only two of you. You're not going to constantly be at each other's throats. You're going to find a medium. Draw the line in the sand.
You'd have to, yeah.
Yeah, you absolutely have to. Otherwise, you're going to end up eradicating yourselves, aren't you? So.
Well, this goes back to the old theory that I've often brought up. It's dogs in the same litter fight. It's natural. Wars break out, and because it's natural for us to fight each other. Well, it is natural for us to experience conflict. Conflict is one of the natural dialectics of life in the universe. But do we have to? In order to resolve that conflict, we don't have to kill each other. We don't have to drop chemicals and nuclear weapons on everything. I think, and as you see, most of these wars, all the ones I've looked at in history, are manipulated. So if it's natural, so there's a tractor coming past. If it's natural for us to have wars, why is it necessary to manipulate them? Now, there was a race of people 12 feet tall, I believe. This was the first Dutch explorers said they saw living people 12 feet tall, giants. Yeah. Twice the size of modern men.
Yeah, and the women were a bit more diminutive, weren't they? They were 10 feet.
10-foot tall women. I mean, now these are women. I would not moan at these women if they burnt the toast. I'll put it that way. But I mean, that's just amazing. Now, there's been apparently no archaeological evidence in terms of skeletons and graves and other things
No, but
of people that size, giants.
When we find giant skeletons, there's always a disappearance of the giant skeleton.
Yeah.
These things are covered over faster than they're found.
Michael Cremo talked about this.
Yeah,
He said that they were always digging up archaeologists are always digging up odd things because there's this climate of fear in academia.
So I mean that's his a paraphrase him. You know, archaeology's covered over more evidence than it's dug up.
That's
Which
right.
is sadly ironic, really.
It is. Archaeology is supposed to be about digging up evidence. It's more often about burying it. Well, we're going to have to proceed now to day 2, Sunday, of this event, where we're going to talk about stone spheres of Costa Rica. God's marbles. See you later. Hospital porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.